Today, we are still on function, but we are going to do Variadic function. In the previous classes, I have done the addition of just two numbers. Variadic function, this is actually gotten from the word vary and then adic, right? This one stands for various. And this is a suffix that is used in math and logic to represent a function that accepts various number of arguments. So like monadic for one, diadic for two, and then triadic for three, right? So a variadic function is a function that accepts various number of arguments every time you call it. Example is Jesus Christ feeding 4,000 people in one event, and another event fed 5,000 men. 4,000 men in one, 5,000 men in another, using the same type of function. So a very simple way to explain this variadic function is you go to a grocery store to buy your groceries. You pick the basket, and then you start picking items into the basket. You take the basket to the cashier, and then the cashier start picking them out, right? So I can pick 5 items. Another person will pick 8 items. Another person will pick 3 items. How is the computer program written that it will be adding this number? So I will just be putting number of items, and the computer will give me an output. So a function has been written inside the computer system that will add any number of items that you bring. That is a variadic function. So let's write a function to demonstrate that. Now, a variadic function will use another type of library, which is what? The other one we always say stdio, we say stdio.h. This is a header file that contains a printf function. But for variadic, you have stdio, stdarg.h. So this header file contains macros that we are going to use to write our variadic function. So example of the macros are va list, va start function, va arc function, and then va end function. Now, what are they? So this va list is a type, like a data type. When I say int a, this is a variable created in the integer realm. So this is a type, right? So this va list is also a type like this. So I'm going to create a variable, and I will name that variable arcs. So this variable, which is like this a, the type is this va list. So this list is used to hold all the arguments that I'm going to supply. So just like the basket that you carry in the grocery store to pick your items into, then this va start function is me now initializing that basket, meaning I am picking items into the basket. So this va start is used to initialize this variable, right? That is what this va start does. Now this va arc is now like the cashier that is now picking out the items one by one from the basket. That is what this va arc does, right? And then this va end is that after the cashier finish picking, you have to return the basket back to where you collected it from. So meaning all the resources that were used in the memory has to be clean, and then the resources freed. That is what all these macros are going to do. So let's write a program that does that addition of different number of items that you pick from the grocery store. So let's write that without wasting much time. So I'm going to write a function to add any number of arguments that I supply. So let's start from here so that I can also write my main. So I will say int first I will say hash include stdio.h for our print function. Then I will also say include stdarg.h. Then I'm going to declare my function. I'll say int add. So that is my function name. And then here I'll say int, what are the return type? Count. Then now this is the syntax for Variadic. Why am I having this? This I can give it any other name. So this is a known variable, and then this is unknown variable. Unknown. I don't know how many items I'm going to pick from the grocery, right? That is why I'm putting this ellipsis. So this count is like saying, when I call this, if I say add, then I say 3, then I say 20, 30, 40. So this 3 is this count, meaning I'm going to supply only 3 items, but I don't know how many they are. That is why I'm putting this ellipsis. Now, if I'm going to supply 4 items, if I'm going to pick 4 items, say 50, so this count will become 4. So this first variable is a known variable telling the compiler or telling the function that you should be expecting 4 elements or 4 arguments, right? That is what that is for. So let's continue our program. Now, this is a function, so I'm going to do this. Then inside this place, I am going to say var list. Then I'm going to declare the argument. I'll call it ax. So I've declared a variable ax, and the data type is var list. I'm also going to declare another variable sum, because I want to add them together, sum, and I will initialize it by assigning 0 to it. Then I am going to now say var start. So this is my var start function. That is me initializing this basket. So I have created the basket, which is ax, right? So I want to start putting things inside it. So I will say ax count. So this is me saying I want to put this number of things inside this basket. So whatever the count is, I want to put 5 items inside this basket. So I have done that. Then I will now come here. Because I'm going to be repeating those things, I have to use a loop. So I'm going to use a for loop, because I already know what I want. So then here I will initialize my I, which is my index. So I equals to 0. Then I will have my condition, my control condition for the loop. I'll say I less than count. Then I will say I plus plus. That is the function. Curly bracket. So inside this place, I have to pick the items into this basket, right? So I will say sum plus equals to, then I will call my VA arc. So this is a macro I'm going to use to pick into it. I have used this to pick into it. Now this is the cashier now pulling out from the basket, taking from the basket. So VA arc, then what am I going to supply? I'm going to supply the axe, which is the basket. This is this. And I'm saying I'm going to supply the type. So all the items that are inside are pineapple or apple or biscuit. So I am telling the data type of what you should be expecting from inside this container. So that is why I'm putting this there. So I'll close this. Then I'll close this, my curly bracket. I'll close it. Then I will come here. I'll call VAN to clean up the basket and return it back to where I carried it from. So all the memory resources that were used in this function is going to end. So vn is going to end it. Then I will now say return sum. So my function, I will close it here. Now, I don't think you are still seeing below, but let me come here. So I am going to come here to write. What I'm going to write here should be under this place. That is my main. This is my function that I've written, which is what? The thought. I've written the thought. Now I'm going to write the main function, which is the soul. That is the entry point into this program. So I'm going to write that main function. And inside that main function, I'm going to call this thought. And I'm going to supply parameters to this thought, to this function, to act on, and then give me an expected output. So I'm going to say int main, right? This is my main function. Then I'm going to come in. So inside this place, I'm going to declare a variable int result, right? Int result. So I can declare this variable int result, and I'll leave it like this. Then I will come here and I'll say result equals. So I will call this my function add. Then I will supply 3 to it. Then 10, 20, 30. So that is result. I can equally say, so let me just leave it like that because of time. So result, I've called this. Then I'll now say printf. I'll call my printf function. Printf, I'll say result is %d / n, comma. What should be there is what I'm going to write here. I will now bring this out. Result. All right. So this is my main function. Then, because of this line, I'm going to write, that should be here. So I'll now say return 0. Then my curly bracket, of course, should be the same line. So I'm just going to close it. So this is my main function. So let's explain. My main function, which is the soul, I have come in, I declare a variable result. And then that variable is expecting this result. I'm now calling this function, and I'm supplying all these argument to it. So this first one, which is 3, is going to be given to what? Count. So it's telling this function you're expecting 3 arguments. So the first argument is what? 20, 10, 20, 30. Now I have added them. So at this point, once it gets to this point, from this point, control will come to this. That is to this function. Control will come to this function. So this 3 will be given to count, right? It will come inside. Then var list, ask is created. This ask is to what? Accommodate this 10, 20, 30. Then I declare my variable sum and I assign 0 to it. Then VA start. So VA start is used to initialize this basket. So the first thing I pick, 10, I put it inside. I pick 20, I put it inside. I pick 30, I put it inside. Because this count is telling me start picking from after the known variable, which is what? 3. So I start picking from 10. So I pick it inside. Then I come to the cashier. So at that point, I'm using this loop. It will check I less than count. Then it will come in. Sum, which is what? 0. I'm calling this macro, which is a function too, to go to this ask and then pick whatever is inside. So what is he expecting? He's expecting integers. If I am saying you are expecting integers, and then what I supply I put to throw me an error, that is the limitation of this variadic function. So it means whatever I'm going to supply, I must explicitly state it. So, but here I'm supplying integer. So it will pick 10. That 10, this one is the same thing as sum equals to sum plus whatever this guy return. So it's going to return 10. So 10 plus 0, that is 10. It will reassign it back to this. So sum now will become 10. Then it will increment. It will check. I has now increased from 0 to 1. So 1 is less than 3. That is true. It will come in. It will pick the next one. So it will be what? 10 plus 20. And it will reassign it back. That will be what? 30. Then it will increment this to 2. So it will check. 2 is less than count. Count is 3. Yes. It will come in. It will pick the next item. That will be what? Plus 30. So that will be what? 60. It will reassign it back to sum. Then it will increment I to 3. 3 is less than 3. That is no longer true. So it will come out of this place, meaning it has finished counting. It will end the argument, clean it up, and then it will return sum. So it's going to return 60 back to this result. Then printf will now print out result is. Then this expression, which is the format specifier, will now hold whatever result it has returned. So the result returned this place will print out what? 10 plus 20 is 30, plus 30 is what? 60. So it will print out 60. Now, if somebody else comes and the person picked 4 items, this place will be 4. And then it will be 10, 20, 30, 40. The same thing will repeat itself and it will print out the output. So this singular function is going to be used for as many people as possible that pick anything from the grocery store. So this was how an example, a biblical example of how Jesus Christ fed 4,000 in one event and another one 5,000 using the same function. So let's go to code blocks. Let me demonstrate how to call this function maybe 2 times or 3 times with different arguments, and then you will see the output. Let's go to code block. This is our code block. All these I have explained on the board, but in this code, I called the Variadic function 3 times. So the first time I supplied just 2 arguments to it to make it look like the previous function, additional function that we've written before. So just 2 arguments. While in the second one, I supplied 3 arguments to it, like what I demonstrated on the board. And then the third time I'm calling that same function again, I supplied 4 arguments to it. So I'm going to execute this, and then you are going to see the output of these 3 calls. So let's run it. So you see, the first call is giving you 30, which is 20 plus 10, that is 30. The second call is giving you result 1 is 10 plus 20 plus 30, that is 60. Then the third one is giving you 10 plus 20 plus 30 plus 40, that is 100. So 30, 60, and 100. So that is what the Variadic function is. A function that can accept different type of argument when called. So you can see that I'm calling this same function first time, second time, third time. So that is what I want to show you in this class. So till we see in the next class. Bye-bye.